program called what? A show and as a call that I put forward to every one of us. But not challenge social communication. Even the personal items.
Okay.
Close up. Yes,
The count
of 3, 2, 1.
Hello viewers, I hope that you're well wherever you are watching us from. Welcome again to yet another amazing show, the Oshdi's Trash Show. And today we are at the Sundowner Hotel at the Green Park Hotel. Welcome to our show today. We are excited today to have our mom in the house, Mary Wambui. She will introduce herself shortly. Yeah, and a gentleman by the name Wangai Mburu. Welcome very much to today's show.
Thank you.
And now, before I ask them to introduce themselves to you, I will ask our vision bearer, one Mr. Martin Kilavi. By now you know him, to say hello to us. Welcome.
Thank you, Maureen, and thank you once again for having us. And to our viewers, karibu sana. And let's get inspired by these stories. Continue watching and subscribing and sharing wide and large. Yeah, we can't wait to hear from our mom today. Yes.
Wow. Mom, thank you very much for creating time for this show today. We are really humbled and excited at the same time to have you today. All the way from Thika, Martin.
Imagine.
What a sacrifice. Wow. What a commitment.
What love.
Wow, what love. Yes, so I will ask you to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay, hello viewers. My name is Mary Wambui Kanyi, and I am happy to be in this show to talk about a topic that I'm very passionate about. Thank you.
Wow. So Mary Wambui comes from where, maybe a little bit of your background, and then now maybe you can introduce your son to us.
Okay.
Yes.
I live in Thika, but I work at the University of Nairobi,
Wow.
Department of Sociology, Social Work and African Women Studies. I'm a gender specialist who have been involved a lot in pushing for women's empowerment in Kenya. And I'm also a researcher at the Women's Economic Empowerment Hub at the University of Nairobi. So I've been engaged a lot on the issues to do with the vulnerable groups, of whom one of the vulnerable groups is the persons with disability. And maybe that has prepared me also to walk the journey with my son here. He's called Wangai Mburu. And so thank you for inviting us to this show.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Mom, you are loaded. From a gender, you said gender specialist
Yes.
working in Nairobi University.
Yes. Researcher.
Researcher.
Yeah.
My goodness. You're the right guest for the show today.
Yes,
We are really honored to have you.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
so you said you are passionate about people. So Mom, we are here today because of our son here.
Yes.
One Mr. Mburu. Mburu, tuambie majina yako.
My name is Wangai Mburu.
Na unatoka wapi?
Na toka Thika.
Wow.
At
Eh.
home is Etasia.
Where?
Wetaithia.
Wetaithia. Wow. Oh, that is very good. Wow.
Wetaithia.
Wow. Well done.
Very good.
Yes, very good. Yeah. So, Mom, in introduction earlier on,
Yeah.
you have told us that you are passionate about people living, rather people who are able differently.
Yes.
Is this as a result of your son, or is it something that, you had before?
No, this is something that I had before because I like to look back from my upbringing in the Catholic Church and where I was a member of the different church groups.
Yes.
And where I think I became a bit exposed to the concern or a calling to the concern of people who are less privileged, let me say the elderly, the persons with disability.
Yes.
And then I think when I started working particularly in the women's movement, where I was working at the Collaborative Center for Gender and Development, I think I became more conscious about the persons with disability because as we pushed for women's issues, then you become more exposed, you become aware of the needs of women with disability, you become aware of their dual marginalization because they are women, but also the issue women are marginalized, so they are marginalized as women, and then you come to be more conscious about them being double marginalized because they are also women, but women with special needs. So I think I became more and more exposed to the needs of those special categories. And then as women, as we were pushing for the affirmative action profession, to create a space for women in leadership in the different organs, we came to be involved with other marginalized groups. This now included the youth, the persons with disability, the marginalized communities, and then I think you become more and more conscious about the needs of those other groups that you never thought of. And so working together with those groups, I think I even came to learn that we are all, you, me, and everybody, is a potential person with disability. And when you deal with the issues with disability, so you always think, tomorrow I might be one of the persons with the disability. You think maybe in my family or among my dependents, I can have somebody with disability. And I think that opens you up. You become more conscious of their needs because you think when I'm pushing for their rights, I'm also pushing for my right.
Your own rights. Yes.
My right in the sense of me personally, or maybe a person tomorrow who will be from my family. And so I think you become more and more conscious, you become more and more involved in pushing for their rights as you push for the rights of women. And I think that is where I developed my passion also and concern. And then afterward, my son Wangai was not born with the challenges. Actually, he did not exhibit any challenges of autism or anything like that. She started schooling as a normal child. Actually, he used to be very bright. Sometimes he could bring home the present for number one. If not number one for the academic, maybe the cleanest child in the class. And so he didn't have a problem until he was in class 2. That is when he was around age 7, when he started developing some complications. Though as a parent, I think when the child has been normal, then he started having challenges. It takes time. It is a journey that you have to walk to accept, yes, this child has developed certain challenges. So it's a journey until now you reach the point of acceptance that the child has the challenge and you have to live with the challenge. And now it also changes you that you now have to start thinking differently and also sometimes wearing that shoes of the person with the disability because when you have a person that is challenged as the guardian, you have to do a lot in order to meet their needs. So I think that is now, after learning before, I had somebody who is challenged. Now I had to practice it personally. Yes.
But at least you had the passion even before you realized that he had some complications.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So what you're trying to say is that the pregnancy was smooth, the childbirth was okay, he was okay, up to the time he
Age
was 7 years old.
Yes, yeah.
Why I'm asking that, it is important
Yeah.
so that our viewers, Martin, understand that you can have a normal, what we call normal
Yes.
baby up to some age, then now they develop this, they pick up these conditions.
Yeah, and so Maureen, I feel at this point we need also to know what were the first symptoms, because you said Mburu was not born disabled.
No.
So what were the initial symptoms that made you see the change?
Actually, as a young child, he was active, you know, what we call hyperactive.
Yes.
But then he didn't exhibit any challenges because he was just going to school normally. He would do well in school.
Yes.
But then when he was in class 2, he started having fits in school, you know, those conversions.
Oh, conversions.
So actually would be called, take the child quickly and rush him to hospital. And then from that time, that is when he started having the challenges. And because many times he would be off school,
Yes.
then that also started affecting his performance. A child who would get 100% in some subjects or 80 and 90%, who you never worried about, then starts dropping academically. So you start noting that there is something wrong. Then the issue of having some constant conversions. So I think that is where our journey now, him having the challenges started, because I think that also had some impact on the brain development. This is my assessment. And so his performance in school then started going down. And so I had now to start walking from one school to another before I knew that he was really challenged, that he could not perform. Then you are also in and out of the hospital. You know, because he had the fit, then you go, you are admitted 1-2 days, you are back home. So you start undergoing those challenges. And so then gradually, then I had to remove him from one school to another until finally he landed at City Primary in Nairobi.
Yes.
Okay.
Where they have a department for autism. But because for him, he could talk, he could manage himself, he didn't go to the autistic section, he was mainstreamed. Actually, I would say proudly that by the time he came to class 8, Wagai is the pioneer to do the KCPE as an integrated special child in City Primary School. So we walked the journey with the teachers.
Yes.
And so he was able to do his KCP as a special integrated child. And after him, I know others were able to do the same. Yes. So it was a journey, but a journey that I had to walk with the others. Because when you have a child or a person with a disability, it is not a journey that you can walk alone.
Sure.
You need a lot of social support. So I had a supportive family. My mother, my sister, some of them are gone. And actually, I always say that social support, you also need institutional support. That they are maintaining them is also a bit expensive. You are working, so sometimes you need institutions that understand. You, a working guardian who have a child or a person with a disability, because sometimes maybe he has become unwell, you have to not to go to work.
Yes.
So if you don't have an understanding that is the management where you work, then it becomes very challenging.
Yes.
Like now, maybe when I joined the university, I'm always very grateful to the university, because like now we have the medical care there. And so he is under my cover.
Wow.
So when it comes to medical needs, they are taken care of. So these institutions where you have guardians of persons with a disability need to be very understanding and very supportive.
Yes.
Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. Because then if you are not working, you cannot meet their needs. Then it will become very difficult.
Wow, yes.
Yes, maybe the other challenge that I know as a society we have is that people out there may not understand them. So like now, if you were to meet Wangai along the road, you'd not think it is somebody with any issue. So maybe you step on his foot and then he starts fighting. So what will you do? The two of you will start fighting. Yes. So.
And that's why this show is here, Mom. That's why we are telling people, please and please watch this show. Because when you came in and I looked at him and I asked you, does he have any problem? What is the problem? Because to me, he looked, and you know the way he's smart, eh? Yeah, looking very composed. And so you can't pick the condition.
You cannot
No.
Yes, that's easy.
I can just give an example. Recently, we were just going back home.
Yeah.
There is a bridge where we cross over the bridge. And now he was walking ahead of me. So he crossed the bridge before me. And when he got to the other side, he was pressed. He wanted to help himself. So instead of now walking the way we go direction home, he walked the other direction. And as I watched him when I had completed walking down the bridge, I realized he was helping himself. But just like 3 feet away, there were some boda guys. And so when he stopped helping himself, now they came to confront him.
Oh.
Ni kwa nini unakuja kukojoa pale tunafanyia kazi? You know, now for me, I had started walking home and I realized he has not yet reached me. So I looked back.
Where is he?
Only to see him now, they are confronting with the boda guys. And because you see him, he won't understand. So the first reaction is they fight.
Yeah.
So actually I had to walk back very quickly and tell him what is going on. Can you stop whatever you are trying to challenge him? Because he doesn't understand what it is that you are asking him. And then I told him, you know, this is a person who nobody should be like engaging in a fight with him. One, you know, they are very strong, and so if they start fighting with you, and you know he won't now have any that
reservation.
Yeah, reservation or that understanding that no, it is wrong to fight. So he'll have to fight back in his self-defense. Then all of you will start fighting. And I told them, no, this is a person who have challenges. And I remember one of the boda guys telling me, no, me, I even have many problems like him than him. You see, now, when you see him dressed like that, so you don't think that he has any problem or any challenges. So that issue of the society understanding that the person may look very smart, may look very well, but that person have challenges. That is a major problem we have in our society. And I wish as a society, we would understand those different needs. Because when we do that, then we would also make life easy for him. Like now, I can tell you, even at home, I cannot send him far away from the, you know, from the environment where we live, even to go, for example, to the market, because I don't know who is going to meet with him and how they are going to engage. Yeah, so it also limits his life, you know, sort of he becomes bowed. Yes.
Wow. And that's why in this show, Martin, if you remember, we are always telling people kindly and please stop being judgmental.
Yes.
You know, like that confrontation with the boda people, if they've taken their time. Because I don't think it is very normal for someone to go and relieve themselves in front of other people. You understand?
Yes.
So if people, Mom, if people could stop being judgmental,
Yes.
if we could be supportive and not be too quick to our words, I think we can make even lives for them more bearable.
Yes,
Yes.
Maureen.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And I'm also seeing an aspect of more awareness. We need to make disability more visible, especially the hidden disabilities, like the intellectual disability, which Mburu has. We need to make it more exposed, because I think there is a disconnect from the public. Most of the people don't understand, and most of the time they may be mistaken for having being rude, because and that brings us again to attitude. The attitude for both sides, and mostly from us, the regular side. We need to create more positive attitude and open up our spaces to understand that these persons with intellectual disabilities or hidden disabilities are within the community, and what is their behavior? How do we pick them out of the community, and how should we relate to them? Because ma'am here, you can bear me witness, they are approachable, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you approach them the right way, they will respond back to you. Is that not it?
First, if you were to make friends with the Wagai, he's very friendly.
Yes.
The only thing is you have to know his boundaries.
Okay.
So that you don't have him get irritable. Because their irritation is very quickly. And sometimes it is something that you may not even think. I know he has destroyed my things at times.
But you don't go beating him, isn't it? Or do you?
You just like now, I remember one time he broke my laptop. Wagai, I'm just giving an example. Yeah, some of the problems. So, usinikasirikia.
And he's smiling.
Yeah, because I'll be asked why I was.
Oh, he will ask you after. And you give that example. Wow, bright guy. Yes.
So actually, I was working in the house. So I'm working on the laptop. So I asked him, "Can you give me that book over there on the shelf because I want to refer to it?" So he tells me he's watching his program on the TV. So I thought, you know, the work I'm doing, that is what is going to pay the electricity for you to be able to watch the
program.
And he went to the main and switched off.
Oh, yes.
And told me he doesn't want it to watch. So I said, I too, let me just pick my luggage. I go to the office to work from the office. So in the split of a second, he had picked my laptop.
Banged
it. Ready to bang it. So before even I could rush and hold it, from where now I had gone to get the book myself, it was down. They broke completely, even the motherboard, so nothing could be salvaged from it. So they get very irritable, and sometimes it is something that you know, it is not something you look as something important. So I see these are some of the challenges. So and you can just be walking, maybe accidentally you step on him accidentally, and then you have to run after you and step on you. So if the society can be able to understand them, then they would also have, you know, a much easier, you know, sometimes I'll have to tell somebody, no, just ignore him, that is a challenged person, because now you don't want the person to start engaging with him. So the society needs to understand them, and so not actually become so quickly judgmental, or then to like revenge, you know, that he has done. So I do this because then you can add to greater fights. Because I mean, my realization of that you can, even he can get into trouble. Actually, it's what even made me to have him registered with the persons with the disability, because I realized that you can just get into a very problem, and then, but at least if he is registered, then you don't have to go through these processes, you know, go assess the person and all that. So I think, one challenge we have, even for registering these people under the council, the process is not very friendly. And I keep saying that as knowing the process, you know, you go to the level 4 or it is level 5 hospital, then from there you go to the clinic, you bring the letter, then from there you go to the specialist. You know, not everybody who will be able to undergo all this process. So I think we need, all of us who are involved with the persons with the disability, one, to make that process user-friendly. Because why do I have to go through all this process? And in my village, there is a chief. The chief knows about the people who is living in that area. And if the child is charged or not, or if the person is charged, then it would make the services more accessible to more Kenyans that need those services. Yeah, yes.
Wow.
And ma'am,
I know that you sit in places where you come up with bills. Are there any bills that cushion persons with disability? And especially today, Maureen, I'm a bit moved towards hidden disabilities, because these are cases that it's not like physical. You can see that this person doesn't have this part of, it's hidden. And so the way we relate with them may not be that easy. So is there any bill or something that cushions them?
Yeah, I remember.
That should protect them.
Yeah, I remember, because of my experience, I've become more and more conscious about the needs of persons with disability, including mental. And at the African Women's Studies, we have been actually looking at bills. I said it is a research center at the university. We do look at the bills coming up. Yes. I remember in 2020, there was a bill on mental disability, mental challenges. The task force was collecting views. And I remember I went there with Wangai to make submissions on behalf of the African Women's Studies Center. But when I arrived there, I found they had already taken the names of those who were going to make the oral submissions. So they told me, because you are late, you submit your memorandum, so you just go in and listen. But I realized people who even came after me were making oral submissions, and as I went and made a request, at least I'd be allowed to make oral submission on behalf of the African Women's Studies Center. And I went with him to the podium, and I told them, one thing is, I'm late, yes, so I come, you tell me people who were to make oral submissions already arrived, but when I am with him, you know, it is like I'm preparing two people from the house. So I have to make sure he is prepared so that we can leave the house. And so I could not spend the same time preparing myself to arrive here. So when you talk about the persons with the disability, and particularly those with mental issues, also consider the guardian. Because for me it is like now I'm preparing twice, and maybe because of him he will even be slower than myself, so I'll need more time. And so that was one bill which I know we tried to influence. There was another one on the persons with disability, and actually for me I've become also a bit very conscious when we are dealing with those bills of the hidden disability. So where you don't see the person has any disability, but the person really has a problem. And we know particularly even when it comes to the guardian. And that is why I said maybe I've been lucky to work in institutions which are also supportive. Because I know many parents or guardians will be working with the institutions where if you are late, then you lose your job. That job is the one which was enabling you to take care of that person with the disability. So many times, like for me, I do put that even when you are considering the persons with the disability, they can be helped directly. Yes, they need to work. Like now, a guy many times asks me, "Ma'am, but which job can I do?" So like now you can see he has been trying to make maths, which also marketing, you need to look for the marketing for them. But you also need the guardian, because maybe not everybody who can get a job like the one I do, that they are able to maybe even to hire somebody to take care of the person that they take care of. So we need to support the guardians of persons with the disability, so that they are able to meet the needs of those persons.
They are taking care of.
The person that they are taking care of, they are able to economically become empowered, take care of the persons that they are, the persons with the disability that they are taken care of. And for me, I think because having the experience, I've seen, sometimes you watch the TV and you feel so bad. Maybe I like sometimes taking the example of a lady I saw in the TV some time back. We had, I think it was the director for UPDK who had gone with one of the members of parliament. And to them, this lady who was living, if I remember, it was Madare. She had a 12-year-old whom she used to lock in the house. This lady used to do casual work. So she's renting a house, she's feeding this child, or rather meeting the basic needs of the child, and also herself. So now, if I'm a casual laborer, can I hire a helper?
No.
Who will take care of my child with a disability? No. So what alternative do I have other than locking that child inside, and I go to look for kibarua?
Wow.
So that I can meet the basic needs of the child, rent a house where we can stay, and also my basic needs. And that is why consistently me I say, to help those people, also take into consideration the guardians of the person with the disability, so that when they are empowered, then they will be able to take care of that person with the disability.
Yes.
Then we were also looking at another bill on basic education, where education is a challenge for the persons with the disability. And I remember, for me, I have had to walk a very long journey with my son, Wangai. From the time he got challenges, so like you are going from one school to another, and then until finally I landed that he is at the primary, where he did his KCPE. But then after doing his KCPE, that is the end. Where next? So I struggled looking for a place. I know first I took him to DAC. There is an institution which used to be called DAC. He went there for some time, but he felt that there he was not benefiting. So I removed him. Then I took him to another institution called Kestrel Mena, which is in High Ridge. Actually, that is where he was taught the skills, the ones for making the maths. That is part of what he learned there. So there are main challenges when these people are out of primary. Where do you take them next? And I think that is something that the government, both at the county level and at the national level, need to take into consideration.
Sure.
Because then they end up at home, and so their life becomes.
And now, Ma'am, talking about helping the guardian or the parent who has a child with disability. And today I'm mainly addressing intellectual or hidden disability. Are there any reprieve measures from the government to that parent? Because we hear that the disabled, once they are registered by the National Council, they get tax waivers.
Yes.
And in this case, where we have those ones with intellectual disabilities, most of them don't work. So are their parents also exempted, or what happens? Are there any reprieve measures to the parent? Because in this case, the parents are really carrying weights.
The burden.
Yes.
What I know is that for persons with disability, they are given the tax waiver, like when you are buying products for them. I know I've had, maybe not met, of parents, maybe you buy a vehicle in the name of that person. I have heard of a parent who is a taxi driver, but the vehicle is bought in the name of the person with the disability. And then I know we do have like the, what we call the money that is given to persons with the disability. Yes. Maybe the challenge with that, and what I keep saying is that the money is very little, even to take care of the person with the disability. And so I think my position to empower, you need to empower the person, the guardian, so that they are able to take care of that person with the disability. Because otherwise, even when they get this money, which is very little, it cannot take full care of the person. But if this person is empowered, the guardian, then they will be able to take care of the person with the disability.
Yes, but again, we have met guests here in this show, And very few of them have said that they receive any money from the government. Many of them come here and say they just hear about it. Which is which? Because most of them say they've never, and they're still registered with the National Council. What criteria is used to identify who receives what when? However little it is.
Okay. I think that is a bit difficult because even myself, I know, but for me, I know the reason why I may not go for it is that God has enabled me, and I'm able, to take care of my son, of Wangai. So I have not required to seek for that support. Plus, I think just as we talk about the elderly, we have so many elderly people in this country, some who are really, really needy. But the thing is the government may not have enough resources for everybody. So the government is supposed to look for the very needy cases. But again, they may not have the money for all the needy cases. So even if there are a few who receive, the majority are those who don't receive. And that is why for me I keep saying, instead of the government aiming at helping this person with that very little money, empower the guardian.
Yes.
Because if I'm able, I'll take care of him. I won't go for the government to support me. But when I'm not able, then I'll be wanting the assistance. And so to me, that is why I think I have reached that decision or conclusion, empower the guardian.
Yes.
Then the guardian will not require that money, which is the money that is transferred to the persons with disability or the elderly, because the guardian will be able to take care of this person with the disability. Because otherwise the proportion that I have not done the research, I'm a researcher, and maybe that is a good question that needs to be researched. Like, how many people do we have, persons with the disability in Kenya, and what proportion of them get that support? Yes.
And what is the criteria?
The criteria
of identifying the needy ones.
Yeah, because some of them, even yourself, you see that they are really needy, but they don't get it. So maybe, and that is why I believe for purposes of empowering, you see, sometimes when you give this, giving the cash transfer, and which is not even enough for taking care of that person with the disability, if you were to empower the guardian, then this person would get a better life or even have their needs met. Then they wouldn't need that cash transfer.
Hey, Maureen, you know again, I know time is not on our side, but I know what she's saying. But again, there's a challenge here, because we have seen that even the few parents who get empowered, at times, they end up paying school fees for the other regular children, and they don't support this disabled. You understand? The funding is supposed to help the disabled, but because there are other children, the parents see it fit to pay school fees for the other children, not this one who was meant to be supported by the funds. So I think they also need, while you're doing your research, you seek also ways of how we can create awareness even where to the parents.
Yeah, we need a lot of awareness actually, even to the parents, because that child with the disability, when equipped with the relevant skills, they can even themselves, get out of that dependency from the parent, and then they can be independent, even if it is just economically. So it is a kind of awareness that we need, both to the parents or the families taking care of the person with the disability, as well as the community and the society at large.
Wow.
Yes.
In other words, we are saying not to neglect their needs at the expense of the other regular child.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, they need more care. They need their needs to be addressed.
Amplified.
Yes.
And addressed more
effectively, more than the regular child. Because once you do that,
plus I think there is another catch for the parents, for persons with a disability, because even the institutions where you take them to school, kwanza when it is the mental, when it has to do with mental challenges, then the institutions are also limited. Where are they? Where are you taking that child to school? As I said, I struggled with him. I took him to DAC, which I used to listen to the media, mainstream media, that they identify the talent. I knew he had talents. So taking him there, I thought they were going to identify. He was done a certain test, which was very expensive, to identify his mental strength. But despite that, he didn't gain. And so he had to come out of the institution. That is when then later I took him to Kestrelmina, where at least he learned the physical skills, you know, that he could make the masks, he can make necklaces, and many other items. So the question is, where are the institutions where you are taking that child to school? So I think that is also a question that needs to be you know, discussed, and people agree. Can we have more institutions which are accessible to these children? Yes.
Wow. And that challenge has come over and over and over again in these shows. We'll come, before we come back to address that, kindly allow us to go. Because we have talked and talked and talked. And I'm thinking, the viewer is asking herself or himself, what is the problem with Mburu? So when we come back, you'll tell us his condition. I don't think we addressed that. Yes, so allow us to go for a short break. And at this point, I want to say thank you, a very big thank you, to the management and staff of Sundowner Hotel for allowing us yet another time to have this show here. We are really... Dear viewers, welcome back to our show. And as you can see, we have some very beautiful, beautiful mats. And shortly, we'll be talking about them. But before then, I am sure you are wondering, so what is the problem with Mburu? This smart guy. So now, Mom, maybe we forgot to mention his condition. And in a few words, maybe you can tell us Mburu's condition for the sake of our viewers. Okay. Yes.
Wagai, when he started having the challenges, was I did search a lot to know what was the problem, particularly when he started having problems in learning.
Yes.
And in the process of looking for solutions, that's when I came across autism, which is a condition that affects the brain, and so it affects the development, and then it results in what I would call now the mental challenges, in the sense that an autistic person, it is called ASD, Autism Spectrum Disorder. And autism spectrum disorder, you see, a spectrum, it means it starts from here and up to here. So based on where the person is on that spectrum, then it will also depend on the severity of the person. Wagai may be on the higher side of the autism spectrum disorder, because for him he is able to do things. And as I said earlier, his challenge did not start as a small child. And I think from my research, what I have come to understand is that a child may be born autistic, because it can be genetic. A child can develop autism because maybe of some sickness or disease that he got in the process of growing, but it can also be caused by some drugs. You know, this is from my own research. So when you have children, they can have challenges along the way.
Yes.
And so with Wangai, let me say, I'm not sure what caused the autism, or the condition, but he's at that higher age where he's able to manage himself, he's able to talk, though limited, but also the learning academically is also a bit limited.
Yes.
So according to the diagnosis, even in his card, that is the National Council for Persons with Disability, actually we have labeled him autistic. autism as the
Yes.
condition.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much for
Yeah.
that. So viewers, Wangai has autism, and as Mama has explained well, it's a spectrum. So that's why we'll talk about mild autism.
Yes.
We'll talk about severe. So it varies. It varies. Yes. And you talked about having taken him to some institution where he learned this art. This
Yes.
art. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you can take us through that.
Very nice maths.
Yes.
So-
and now he's able now to, to digest these. Now that he has, the challenge, the mental challenge already. How are they able to learn things like these?
Actually, when he completed class 8 at the City Primary School, Nairobi,
Yeah.
when he was out of class 8, now primary school, the challenge is where next? Because there are not many institutions that you are able to take such children.
Yeah.
So, as I said, the first I took him to this school called the Dark, where they said they were going nurturing talents. I realized there he was not benefiting. So I took him to another school in Highledge, Nairobi still, called Kestrel Mena. And there at least they were being taught many skills, which has to do a lot with the hands, but they were also learning. So if a child had the capacity to do the exam, IGCS, they could do the exam. But for Wangai, what he benefited a lot was from the work that he could do with his hands. And so he has been making these mats that you can see.
Wow.
Sometimes he designs for himself.
All by himself?
Yes, like that one.
My
You see the
goodness.
green.
My goodness.
First he told me he was going to make a cross. You can see it is a cross.
Oh, oh.
And I was told the cross, the red, is the blood of Jesus. You know, Jesus died on the cross. He
Yes.
goes to church, Grace
Very good.
Presbyterian Church.
Very good.
So he has come to understand about Jesus, about
Religion.
God. Then the green, he told me it is our earth. Our
Wow.
earth is green.
Wow.
So he wanted to, Waka, you can explain a little, the red and the green, why you chose the two colors.
Wow.
Eh?
Green
Green.
is
Eh.
the as was green.
Oh.
Yes, and the red?
The red
Mm.
was
Mm.
the cross of Jesus.
Jesus. Wow, who died for our sins.
Yes.
Beautiful. What a brilliant
Was
young man.
put on the cross.
Yes, he was put on the cross
Yeah.
to die for our sins. Wow.
Yes.
And all this is his thinking?
Yeah, the design, even the why. So because I didn't want him to make it like that, so he explained it to me. Why he wanted to make the cross and why the cross is red and the green. So then when he gives you the reasoning, then you tell him that's okay.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then he also makes other designs.
I can see this.
Yes, sometimes I do assist at times, you know, to show him the design, but immediately he picks up, he runs with it.
Do you
So-
sell this? Where can people find this? Is a great.
Great.
Actually, he has been making them, and I have been looking for a market for them because we just sell on one-to-one.
Yes.
Yes. Although sometime back when he was at that school immediately, because he was there up to 2017 there. I know because he started making that time. I took a sample at the market at the Church Road for the UPDK, United Persons with Disability of Kenya, and they took a sample. But immediately we left the sample. That time he told me, "Ma'am, hii kazi ni ngumu sana." And so he stopped making them. So recently, sometime late last year, that is when he resumed the work.
How long does it take for him to make like this, to knit this?
The challenge of actually saying how long,
Yes.
he will start making with a lot of motivation, you know, to make. Then maybe if the motivation goes, then it will
stops.
first be kept aside, and then only to come back to 8. But when he decides to make, he will make even up to midnight. He will make even you are telling him, can you stop and go to sleep? You continue tomorrow. So it depends on the motivation. Yeah, and like now I know I have some challenges because he has quite a number of them that he has made and which we have not sold. So sometimes, you know, he also loves money. He has his own financial needs. So,
And I think almost everybody loves money. It's not only
yeah,
you.
so when they don't go, when they are not sold, and so he sees he's doing work that is not bringing any benefits, then he loses the morale.
You know what Maureen, now, you know what I want
It's about bargaining power. You want this, so I need money to buy it. And he understands that. I like it. I like it.
Maureen, you know what I'm thinking, eh? We have a dream. We have a dream at Auschwitz Trust. we have a dream at Auschwitz.
I wanted to sell this. And unasiusaga pesa gapi?
Oh, yeah, very important question.
1,500.
You've heard it for yourselves. 1,500 Kenya shillings.
Yes.
That is 15
Yes,
USD
a piece.
per piece.
Okay.
Yeah, Wangai needs money. He understands the need of money just
the man
like you
says
and me.
money.
And he loves
He has his own expenses.
Yes,
Like
and he
now,
wants
I don't know whether you understood when we were there. He was telling me, don't buy me lunch. Give me that money I save because I want to buy the green phone.
Wow.
The green phone, which also has a radio.
Mom, you have done a lot of work.
My goodness.
He knows how to save.
Yes, he saves any money he gets, but then when he asks me anything, I'll tell him, because you have the money, go take the money, you buy with your
And
money.
this is a lesson to all other parents. So you believe that if these children are given the right skills, they will get them even up to saving for the
Yes,
future.
yes, I believe so. I believe so. Only that
So when
it
is
has
it-
to take a lot of time to conscientize, that child,
Yes.
the need to save,
Yes.
and even what to buy. So you don't just see anything you want to buy that, and you have to know whether you have enough money. I know he has the challenge because he cannot count his own money or no, this costs this amount. But at least, you know, when he has the money, you tell him, carry the money, we go with you, you bring the money, I calculate for you, so that you are not cheated. Yes, so you can teach them, only that you need a lot of patience, you know, for them to internalize. It takes some time for them to internalize what you are teaching. But with that consistency, and particularly autism has to do with a lot of repeating what you are trying to train. So don't tell the person and think, ameshika. No, you have to patiently,
But they eventually get.
again and again and again and again, be patient. Finally, they will catch it. Yes.
And Martin and Mom, I think I like Wankai's desire to participate in the economic process. You know, he wants to participate just like any other person. That's why he needs to sell these mats, get his own money.
Yes.
And I think I like his thinking. For sure, that one is work well done. And maybe you can give his mom's number down there.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, for the viewers,
Yes.
to reach her.
Yes.
And, you know, we promote his business, right?
yeah.
So that he gets the money that he wants to have.
That's true.
Yes.
And better still, Maureen, I was thinking, because our bigger objective
Yes.
as Auschwitz Trust is later to have a school, an institution that will impart these skills to the youth and children who are able differently, especially with intellectual disabilities. And you see, Maureen, I'm looking at Mburu here, and envision him to become a lecturer in that institution, where he can train others how to make these beautiful mats and many more other artifacts. Yes, yes.
He can show how he makes.
Yeah. Maybe in a minute.
So I think what is very important when we are dealing with the persons with the disability, identifying the skills
Yes.
that or the talent. Let me call it the talent. Yeah, and nurturing that talent. So if we have such institutions, I think they will help a lot
Yes.
with those children, yeah, or persons with a disability.
Yes.
Because then instead of exposing him to reading, writing, say, I don't know, mathematics, you will take him through where his talent is, and that will help them a lot.
Wow.
I know. I think when we read, you know, even history or other books, we know many of those even philosophers. Some of them were autistic.
Yes.
We know persons with a disability who have done a lot, but so long as we are able to identify that talent and nurture, genuinely nurture that talent, they can do a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. And I think for sure, with all my heart, I like that. Because I have come to realize there's nobody who is useless, Martin, in this world. Even that person you think is mad on the road can help you a lot. At times they point at you, you know, at something, just to maybe caution you that there's an accident ahead. Have you realized that? Nobody is useless. And I like the way you've put so much effort with so much passion to help him become the man he is today. If all of us could do that, you know, if all of us could come to that realization that, you know what, these people have hidden talents deep within themselves.
Yes.
So it's a matter of, as you've said, you know, picking up what they are talented at, what are they good at, what can they do, and then we make their lives even better because they want to participate in the economic process, just like you and me. And you know, they'll feel good, they'll feel nice about themselves.
A lot,
Yes.
a lot. Otherwise, when the person just stays like
Idle.
that, doing nothing, you know, you are also destroying that person.
Yes, the
because
brain
then,
cells.
you know, they don't even have the, you know, the interest to live. You know, they are just there.
They're just there.
But if we are to sincerely identify their talents and nurture those talents,
Yes.
these people can be very big people. They can be inventors. Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Look at what he has made. Myself, I cannot do this, I'm telling you, unless I'm trained.
Not many.
A beautiful piece of art. Really, I think they are good. Yes, and they are gifted. We are all equal, only that we are abled differently.
Yes.
And that's why in this program we are trying to tell people, please stop looking at these people this way.
Yes.
No. We are always telling people, these people, they're just like me and you,
Yes.
only that they are abled differently. We are all, they need an opportunity, yes, to express themselves, you know, to nurture their talents and to show the world what they can do.
Yes.
And this is what this program is all about. Wow, our time is up. And now in a second, maybe we can go to the closing remarks. I know we can talk and talk and talk, and Mom is so loaded. She's so, you know, she's so knowledgeable about, you know, disability world, you know, the gender bill, so many other bills, and so many other things. And even having worked and even being in a university setup, I know she's carrying a lot. But maybe in another program, in another time, because because of time. Yes. Your closing remarks, Ma'am?
Okay. I think my closing remarks, I would ask my fellow Kenyans and humanity. These are people like us, that is persons with disability.
Yeah.
It is just the degree that matter.
Yeah.
So if we give them the opportunity and when we make life better for them, let us remember that you and me, we are potential persons with a disability, either personally or within your family or your dependents. So let us make life better for the persons with the disability so that they are also able to feel that they are wanted in this world, to also feel that they are contributing to the world, and then we make life better for them. And I think their lives will be much easier, and we shall be able to live as a society, the kind of society that we want. I know the theme for the Vision 2030 is leaving nobody leaving no one behind. So let us not leave the persons with the disability behind.
Yes.
Let us also work together with them so that as a human society, we shall reach the kind of development that we need to achieve for all of us. And then we shall have a better society for all. Thank you.
Wow, well put. I can't add a word. Thank you very much for your kind and very nice remarks. Wangai, maybe you can ask him to tell us goodbye or say something.
Unataka kuambia iko watu watakuwa wanakuangalia pale, unaweza kuambia bye and thank you.
Na watakuja kununua mats upate pesa.
Thank you.
Thank you Wangai. Yes. Mr. Martin, your closing remarks?
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you Wangai. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Maureen, as always, for having us. It's always a pleasure to be in this show. We are learning a lot. Lives are getting transformed. And to our viewers there, I continue thanking you for watching these shows. Continue sharing wide and far. And disability inclusion is our destination. That's my parting remarks for today.
Wow.
Yes.
Very well said. Mama, for the last time, because I can keep on saying this and this again, thank you very much for having created time to be with us today. Yes. We have learned so much. You have inspired us so much. And I'm sure even our viewers out there are inspired, you know, to walk the journey with their children or with their relatives who may be able differently. And by doing so, we'll make this world a better place for all of us.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Viewers, we have come to the end of our show today. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you for your time, you know, in watching these shows. Continue doing so, as our leader said. Let's continue watching these shows and, you know, sharing them to the different WhatsApp groups, to the different social platforms. By doing so, you may never know, you could be touching a life who needs to see these stories. Thank you very much. See you next time with more stories. Bye.
On a program called what?
The show end as a call that I put forward to every one of us, but not
Challenge social communication. Even the personal items.